Let's rank the top 15 tight ends in the country heading into 2024. I've already done the quarterback rankings for each conference, the running back rankings for each conference, and also the wide receivers. So if that interests you at all, check those out. I'm just doing a full group tight end rankings. I didn't want to go conference by conference. And I'm also missing a lot of really good players on this list. I'm missing Jake Johnson, the tight end at Texas A&M that just transferred to North Carolina with his brother Max Johnson, the duo. Missing Jake Roberts, the guy who just transferred from Baylor to Oklahoma. He should be significant for them this year. Missing some more Donovan Green at Texas A&M. He tore his ACL last year in the scrimmage game, so we didn't get to see him, but he is an absolute freak of nature. And Amari Niblack, the new Texas tight end. He was at Alabama last year. So yeah, a lot of good names off this list, but here's my top 15. Number 15, Malik Carr at Houston, new Houston tight end. He's been a lot of places. His freshman year, he started off at Purdue. He spent the last 3 at Michigan State, and now he's at Houston. At Michigan State last year, he had 350 yards and 3 touchdowns in a not-so-good offense. So at Houston, I think he'll be a lot better. Number 14, Mason Taylor at LSU. He's going into his 3rd year in college football. His freshman season in 2022, he put up over 300 receiving yards, and last season he put up over 400. And he's the guy that caught the 2-point conversion against Alabama back in 2022 when they upset them in Death Valley, if you remember that. Hell of a game by Jaden Daniels, and Mason Taylor won it for him. But yeah, he should be really good this season for LSU. LSU has a lot of weapons, and Kyron Lacey, CJ Daniels, a running back is solid, but Mason Taylor will be a huge help for them. Number 13, Rivaldo Fairweather. He's going into his 5th year of college football. He spent his first 3 at Florida International, and last year was his first year at Auburn, and he had really good numbers, over 400 yards and 6 touchdowns, in an offense where the throwing or the passing game was not very good. You had Peyton Thorne, and he's not a very good passer. He wasn't last year. And Fairweather still put up those numbers. So this year should be even better in that Auburn offense. Number 12, Luke Haws at Arkansas. He was a freshman last season, put up 250 yards and 3 touchdowns in only 5 games last season. He had a hell of a game against LSU. That was a really back and forth game, but he was great in that one. But he got injured I want to say it was the next week against Texas A&M. He got injured. It was a shoulder injury. So he missed 6 games or 7 games last year, and he'll be a crucial part of the offense this season for Arkansas. Number 11, Corey Dykes at California. He's the new tight end at California. He's going into his 5th season, and he spent all 4 seasons at Maryland, and he's got 2 500-yard seasons in a row at Maryland. So he comes over to California where he will be a huge help in the passing game. And California's going to need it with their quarterback battle between Fernando Mendoza and Chandler Rogers going on. Number 10, Caden Prescorn at Ole Miss. He's going into his 5th season. He spent 3 years at Memphis where he was really good for most of the years there. Came over to Ole Miss last year and had 450 yards, 4 touchdowns. And this is a guy that wherever you throw in his direction, he's going to come down with it. Go back and watch the Penn State game, that bowl game. He was amazing in that game sometimes when Jackson Dart just threw it up to him and he came down with it. But this year, Ole Miss, like the past 2 or 3 years, they have so many weapons on offense. He's just going to add to that. Number 9, Jack Felling. He's going into his 3rd year in college football. He's at Michigan State now. He just transferred there and came with Jonathan Smith, the head coach at Oregon State that is now at Michigan State. He spent his last 2 seasons at Oregon State and had a really good season last year, over 400 yards and 8 touchdowns, and he should be a huge help in the new offensive game, the whole new team at Michigan State. It will be fun to watch. Number 8, Oscar Delp at Georgia. He had a really good season last year, and it was behind Brock Bowers, one of the best tight ends, arguably in history, some say. But he had a really good season, put up over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in an offense where Brock Bowers was in it and was the main target most of the time. But Brock Bowers did go down with injury, so that's when Oscar Delp got a lot more playing time and a lot more eyes on him because he was awesome in those games that Brock Bowers was out. Number 7, Bryson Nesbitt at North Carolina, a very underrated tight end, does not get talked about enough in my opinion. He's going into his 4th season and came off a great 2023 season, over 600 yards and 5 touchdowns. Now in 2024, he will have to adjust to not the caliber of quarterback Drake May was for him last season. He's going to be catching balls from either Connor Harrell or Max Johnson at North Carolina. So we'll see what he can do with those quarterbacks that aren't as good as Drake May, but he should be able to help him out a lot. Number 6, Jake Brenningstool at Clemson. He's going into his 4th season, had a really good year last year, over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, and he is going to be Cade Klubnik's best friend this season. Now, Clemson has more weapons than they have, I think, the last 2 or 3 years as far as the wide receiver position. Obviously, Dabo does not go in the portal like he probably should to get really good wide receivers, but I think Clemson has better wide receivers than they have the last couple of years, and Jake Brenningstool would just add to that, and him and Cade Klubnik are going to be fun to watch this season. Number 5, Luke Lachey at Iowa. As we all know, Iowa is tight end U. They produce George Kittle, they produce TJ Hawkinson, and so on and so on. Luke Lachey could be the next great Iowa tight end, and he's going to be very underrated going into 2024 because he missed most of the season last year. Only played in 3 games, but when he was healthy in 2022, he was catching passes from Spencer Petras, if you remember him, and he had 400 yards and 4 touchdowns with a offense like Iowa and with him throwing the ball. So if Iowa has any just heartbeat on offense, he's going to be a big reason for it. Cade McNamara is a better passer, obviously, and I think it's going to work out really good for Luke Lachey this year. Number 4, Benjamin Yurosek at Georgia. The second Georgia tight end on this list, Oscar Delp and Benjamin Yurosek. They're going to be nightmares for defenses, but that's like every position on Georgia's team. It's ridiculous. But he's going into his 5th year. He missed half the season last season, but he had a 500-yard year in 2022 and almost a 700-yard season in 2021. So really big things expected out of him, and I can't wait to watch him and Oscar Delp in that Georgia offense. Number 3, Mitchell Evans at Notre Dame. He's going into his 4th year, had a really good year last year, over 400 yards and a touchdown catch. He's getting a new quarterback in Riley Leonard. He comes over from Duke, and if he's healthy, he will be the starting quarterback all season. He's a really good quarterback. Missed a lot of the year last year with an ankle injury and turf toe, but when he is healthy, he is really good, and him and Mitchell Evans should be an awesome combination. Number 2, Brant Kuth at Utah. Just like his quarterback Cam Rising at Utah, they love their education. Kuth is going into his 7th year of college football, just like Cam Rising. And this is a guy that was taking majority of the reps over former Utah tight end Dalton Kincaid, who is now an NFL tight end. So that just goes to show you how good this guy is. He just missed all of last season with an injury, so he will be very underrated going into this year. He has 2 600-plus yard seasons in his career, and him and Cam Rising and the Utah offense should be deadly this season in the Big 12. But at number 1, Colston Loveland at Michigan. He's going into only his 3rd year in college football. Had over 600 yards and 4 touchdowns last year for the national champion Wolverines. Now this season he will have to adjust to more of a running offense. Now Michigan's always been a heavy run offense, but even at the quarterback position this year, Alex Orji will be more of a runner than a thrower. J.J. McCarthy was a really good thrower last season for Michigan, but Colston Loveland will have to get used to it, and if Michigan wants to contend again, that connection between him and Alex Orji has to work. But yeah, guys, that is my top 15 tight ends heading into 2024. I did leave a lot of good guys out. Comment what you disagree with below in this ranking. Like and subscribe. It helps the channel out so much. My next videos will be the best defensive players in each conference. That's going to be tough because there's so many good defensive players in all of college football. But yeah, follow us on TikTok, 3 and Out CFB, on Twitter, 3 and Out _CFB. I appreciate y'all for watching.